Good morning, everybody. I am hopping on to do a VR to Brian Cormack Carr's hashtag tarottoolstrio. You'll have to mind me because I'm a little sick today. But I was watching a few of these videos this morning, and I kind of wanted to do it before it lost its excitement for me. So I'm doing it now. And so you get me sniffles and all, and I apologize for that. But here we go. We're gonna go. So Tarot Tools Trio is the 3 decks you would take with you if you had to choose only 3. The 3 books you would take with you if you had to choose any 3, and the 3 spreads you would take with you if you had to choose only 3, plus a bonus. So one other thing, another method of divination, or excuse me, another method. Or anything like that. So let's start with the decks. These are going to be no surprise to anybody because if you've watched my channel before, you know I talk about them all the time. So number 1 is my handle. My old beat up, bent deck that I've had since I was 14 because I can't live without it. It's my favorite. Number 2. And I kind of hemmed and hawed, but you probably recognize the bag, is the Tabula Mundi. While the handle is a little thothy or tothy or whatever you want to call it, this one is very closely based on the Thoth system. But this deck just never fails to surprise me. So this one would come with me. Of course, I love it. And, if I get bored, I can just stare at the holographic backs because I'm a magpie. And then number 3 would be a Tarot de Marseille type deck. This is the Soprafino by Il Meneghello. I love this one in particular. It's not technically Marseille because it's Italian, but it's the same style, and I read it very much the same way. But the size and the paper and the art and just everything about this deck is perfect to me. It's great for larger spreads because, and I'll get into this a little bit more when I talk about the spreads, but it's great for larger spreads because it's smaller, and it's just like hand size. It shuffles beautifully. This is perfection in a deck, and if you don't own it and you love Tarot de Marseille or you've used Il Meneghello decks before, you should buy it right now. Now, go do it. So those are my 3 decks. My 3 books. I have to go with 78 Degrees of Wisdom. Not because I particularly need or want something that goes through the accepted or book traditional meanings, although that's good to have. It's just that I love the way Rachel Pollack writes. I love all of her books. I love her style of writing. I love her style of teaching. And there's just so many great comparisons here with other decks, not just the Rider-Waite. There's just, you can see I highlight in many different colors because I just use what's available to me, but I write in this book. I got a lot out of this book that wasn't just about traditional meanings. It's great for somebody who doesn't know tarot, who's just starting out, to get a really good base from, but it's also great for people who have been reading for a while to just kind of like a refresher or to just pull out some of the awesome knowledge that she has. Rachel Pollack's one of my favorites, and she lives by me because I'm weird and I know that. Anyway, the other 2 books are, they're actually, when I was watching Brian's video, they're actually the 2 that I had been thinking of before I saw his choices. So 2 of them match up actually exactly with what Brian picked out. And this one's new to me, but Tarot on Earth by Tom Benjamin. I recommend this book to everybody. I'm working through it right now. About maybe a third of the way through. It's particularly about Pip decks and Marseille style reading, but the exercises and the knowledge that's in here are so relatable to any tarot deck you want to use. It goes through the numerology and the elemental associations and things like that, and kind of I don't want to say forces because that sounds negative, but it it leads you step by step to making your own inferences about those things and figuring out what those things together mean to you. So it's very plainly written, very well thought out, and user friendly in a way that some tarot books are not. So I recommend this to everybody, no matter what you read. First of all, if you're interested in Marseille or pip decks at all, just get this book right away. If you're not, and you read Rider-Waite-Smith, or you read Toth, or you read whatever, it doesn't. If you read playing cards, get this book. It's just it's so good. I'm enjoying it immensely. The guy that wrote it, Tom Benjamin, is just a joy to talk to, and he's a wonderful teacher. So definitely recommend that book. And then the third book is Choice Center Tarot by Gail Fairfield. I really liked this book because she approaches numerology and the way to read the pips or suit cards in a very different way. She treats reversals in a very cool way too. Instead of, upright, this card means this, and reversed, it means the opposite, or reversed, it means this specific thing. She talks about the overall meaning of the number, so the numerology meaning pretty much, and then the upright meaning the outside or outward appearance that you're showing people, and then the reverse is the inside or the hidden parts of it. So I really enjoyed kind of reassessing how I thought about these things, how I thought about reversals in general. I've always read with them because that's the way I learned, but and taking the essential meaning of the card and not really changing it, but like depicting whether or not it's outside or inside. And that this book kind of changed my game a little bit. It's really small. I don't even know how many pages it is. It's 150 pages. I read it in a couple of days, maybe a day. I don't get to sit down and read a book, but I could have read this in very quick amount of time. But the knowledge that I pulled out of it is amazing. I really loved this book. So if you can get your hands on it, I think I bought it used for a couple of bucks. Get it. I think it's called something else now too. It's called, actually I have I have another copy. It's called Everyday Tarot, because I didn't realize that they were the same. Yeah, these are the same books. I didn't realize that. It's funny. I didn't know that until I saw Brian's video, but these are the same. So I have an extra copy of it, which is funny. But yeah, definitely Choice Center Tarot, Everyday Tarot, whichever one you get. Amazing book, and really kind of telling you how to kind of see the suits differently. So the next part of this tag are the spreads we would take. I am a 3-card blob girl. I love the 3-card spread. It's quick, it's easy. You can get a story, you can attribute positions to each spot. I usually kind of just read everything together, or see which cards are dominant and kind of which cards are coming forward more and which are kind of behind, conceptually, and get a whole picture from the 3-card. So 3-card spread, absolutely. Number 2 would be the Celtic Cross, but the Celtic Cross that Dusty White teaches. Dusty White is awesome. His Advanced Tarot Secrets book is great. He kind of sounds like an infomercial, but that's cool. He's got a lot of ability to back that up. So I really am enjoying that book right now, actually. He's got a ton of videos on YouTube from a few years ago, so you could check them out. Just look them up. But yeah, he teaches it a little bit differently. It's got a flow to it, so you kind of start in the middle with the same overall, and then what's crossing, so the situation and the crossing card. But then he goes down and around and then up the staff. So and the meanings are a little bit different. So I'm really kind of just memorizing it, so if I get it wrong, you can sue me later. But actually I have it written down here because I was trying to memorize it last night. Yeah, so it would go, so the situation in the cross, and then down would be what behind, or what's behind, or like how we got to this situation, like what extenuating circumstances made us get there. And then 4 would be the recent past, or the last major event that caused or that helped contribute to the situation. And then 5, which would be above, is the crowning card. So it's pretty much the same in the regular Celtic cross. I'm going to cough again, sorry. And then it's also a card of like public opinion, like how things are kind of over umbrellaing the whole situation. And then 6, which would be to the right of the cross. Yeah, I can think. To the right of the cross is the immediate future, and what will be happening if you continue on this path, like of all the things that are affecting it. This is where it's heading. So immediate future. And then if you go up the staff, number 7 is fears. Number 8 is what outside influence are affecting it, what people are involved, what things are directly affecting that are outside of your control. Number 9 is hopes, and then number 10 is overall outcome, just like a regular Celtic cross. I like this one because I've always struggled with the Celtic cross. First of all, I hate the hopes and fears position, because if you get one card and you read one meaning, how the hell are you supposed to attribute it? I mean, I guess you could do light and shadow, but that's just too much thinking. This is very well laid out and very specific positions. So I like that those two are broken up. And I love the way in his book, the way he kind of like shows you the mini spreads in each thing, because I've always done that. Like I've always taken up, okay, this is the future card and this is the overall outcome. How do they match up? How do they tell you something you need to know? So I recommend picking up that book. It's pretty cheap, but it's good. It's very good. It's got a lot of exercises and games for you to kind of practice your tarot knowledge that I do all the time, but I did before I read the book, but didn't really know why I was doing it. But yeah, so Celtic Cross, but the Dusty White version, I don't know if it's originally attributed to him. He says that's the way he learned it, but that's how I learned it, so I'm going to call it that. And then number 3 is going to be the 9-card spread, specifically for Marseille, but I've done it with regular cards too. By regular, I mean anything other than Marseille. The 9-card spread, I don't usually attribute meanings to each card. I kind of do a past, present, future. I read them in 3-card blobs is really what I do. So past, present, future, and then situations, what you can do to affect the situation, and what your like outcome would be. So I do the horizontals, I do the verticals, and then I kind of look for little like Tetris shapes. I don't know how else to explain it, but I look for like little Tetris shapes in the 9 card. So things that go together, things that match up, and what they say about the whole situation. So maybe there's like 4 core cards, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and it kind of like makes this weird zigzag, and how that affects things. Maybe there's 3 threes, or two majors, something like that. So the 9-card spread is very invaluable to me, especially reading Tarot de Marseille. And that's what I was talking about before, why I love my Soprafino more than other Marseille decks, because it's small and the 9-card spread is big. And I have done the 9-card spread with decks like Tabula Mundi and Pagan Otherworlds that are just friggin' huge. And it takes up a lot of table space, and I don't have a lot of table space. So yeah, small decks, they're my faves. Anyway, so the bonus item that I would take with me is I'm sure you can hear them rattling, my runes. I don't know if I've really gotten into these too much on the channel. I know that on my Instagram and on my blog there are they're featured pretty prominently, because I do offer readings with them, and I do blend them with my tarot quite a bit. But my Elder Futhark runes, I made this set when I was, 16 years old or so. They're made out of clay, fired clay, and glaze, and they're, I don't know, is it? It's probably getting washed out because my lights are terrible. Let me see if I can, there we go. They're white and green. They're all pretty much the same size, but they're definitely handmade. But I use these all the time in connection with tarot, by themselves. I recently did a cool segment where I did a bunch of 3-card readings for people, or not 3-card, 3-room readings for people, and that was a lot of fun, just to get some practice in, because I don't really use them by themselves a lot. Mostly it's conjunction with tarot. So yeah, my bonus would be my set of runes that I made myself. Of course, if I lost any of them, I'd be terribly, terribly heartbroken, but because I've had them for like 20-something years, 20 plus years. But yeah, so anyway, before I start sneezing in the camera and after you guys have had to look at me in my comfy sweater for however long this video is running, that's it. That's my Tarot Tools trio. You guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you do this tag too. If you read tarot, I hope you do this tag, because it's been very cool to watch all the different answers from everybody else, because I'm like, ooh, I didn't think about that book, or ooh, I didn't think about that deck. So yeah, so do it, and let me see, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Love and light. Bye.